What's going on, guys, and welcome to Dub Hub. If you guys have not seen my video talking about how that you can actually find a rEvOlVeR, I'd highly encourage you to do that because otherwise none of this video is going to make sense. So I left a link in the description if you want to go do that and go check that out if you want this to make any sense at all. Now, as soon as I uploaded that, within the first day or two, I noticed a bunch of comments, and they were two different types. And one was something that I disagreed with, and the other one was something that made me realize that I completely messed a lot of stuff up. So I'm going to be responding to both of those and giving my thoughts on both of those. So the first one we're going to talk about is how in that video I discussed for a while how the rEvOlVeR was actually in the unvaulted limited time mode, and how you could actually find one because there was one each game, and then you can go around, and they were pretty rare, like I said, one each game, and that you can actually get them in supply drops as well. Now, if you don't really know what I'm talking about still, make sure you go watch that video, or at least skip around, just to get the general idea of what I was saying, because I can't really explain all of it in this video. But that was basically what I was talking about, and it was just an awful job on my part, because I found that information actually from a source, and I had been using that source kind of a little bit up to that point, and it had never given me information that was wrong, but that was definitely wrong. I'm looking back on that now, and I've played a decent amount of Unvaulted, and I never once found a rEvOlVeR. I was giving that information trusting that source, but it was not actually a correct source. I am not going to point it out because I'm not going to put a bunch of blame on that and direct negative attention to it, but I definitely am not going to be using that in the future. So I definitely apologize for that. I should have maybe looked around a little bit more and made sure that it was valid information. I definitely was not trying to clickbait. I even put unvaulted limited time mode in the title, so I'm not trying to make the claim, that like that like anything's crazy going on. If I was trying to clickbait, I could have done a lot better of a clickbait than that, and I apologize for that. That was definitely my fault, and hopefully if you guys have seen that video and you were angry about that and how it was fake, hopefully you are watching this video and can accept my apology. I did not mean to give you guys false information, and I will work my hardest to make sure that I do not do that again in the future. Now, what this video is really meant to focus on is what the title was about and what I saw more comments about, and this was a lot of people saying that I was very wrong about how good the rEvOlVeR was in the game. Now, again, if you didn't watch that video, I did talk a little bit about how the rEvOlVeR wasn't really a good weapon, and that was one of the reasons that it got vaulted, because other weapons like the deagle and the dual pistols actually made their way into the game, and therefore the rEvOlVeR didn't really have a place in the game, and a lot of people gave me a heat for that because they just didn't really agree with it, and the rEvOlVeR was one of those weapons that they really love to use. And I'm going to defend what I said there because I disagree with that, and I think that unless you are very good with the rEvOlVeR, that it's not really going to hold a place of significance in the game. I think that a lot of people saying that it was a very good weapon weren't wrong, but you have to be really good at the game, and you have to hit your headshots, because who really wants a 70 damage shot that is a slower fire rate than the deagle, and it's essentially just a weaker weapon than the deagle, and that's something that you can't really argue at all. It is a weaker weapon than the deagle, so therefore it doesn't really have any place in the game, and I think that you guys could definitely agree with at least that part of it. And I also think that's one of those things where you miss it when it's gone, but while it's in the game, it's not really important. And a lot of people, I think, are saying that it's such a good weapon, but at the same time, it's not something that you would drop over an AR. You wouldn't drop a shotgun over it. You wouldn't drop maybe even an SMG over it. You wouldn't drop heals. You wouldn't drop a sniper over it or a hunting rifle over it. So where do you carry it in your inventory? The only place you would use it is early in the game when you don't have one of those weapons. So it's not one of the foundation weapons in the game, and therefore it's not very important at all to the game. Or not at all, but it's just one of the supporting weapons, and it's not an amazing weapon that people would prefer over one of the core ones. So I think that it's not very accurate to say that it was amazing when weapons like the dual pistols and the deagle are definitely better than it. And that's just my opinion. That's how I look at it, but I think that it is very inaccurate to say that the rEvOlVeR was an amazing weapon, and that it was, even some people said, the best weapon in the game. Now, that's just my opinion. That's just how I look at it. But that's just my response to it. I saw a lot of comments on that, and I wanted to share my opinion on it a little bit more. So that's what I've been thinking, and that's pretty much it. Both of those comments were definitely very frequent, like I said, and I just wanted to touch on them a little bit more. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I cannot wait for the rest of 2019 and all the content that I can bring you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.